Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Get my clippers. I hope everybody's doing great today. It is absolutely beautiful here in Georgia today. It is 71 degrees right now. It's 12:15. I just got through eating lunch. I've been out here burning all morning, just having a ball. I got up at the crack of light, started burning. I have just enjoyed every bit of today up until now. I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to enjoy this. No, really I am. I'm going to enjoy this. What we're doing today is we're going to prune our bigger muscadine plants. I did a video last week pruning our newer plants, which was this row here all the way down. We pruned all them last week. Took the blue tubes off, got them all ready for the upcoming spring. Now it's time to do these 5 rows. I said before, these 5 rows were actually planted this will be the 4th year. 4 years ago, and we were actually hoping to do the whole pasture, but I ran out of money. So I only got 5 rows in. We skipped a year and then we planted all this the following year. We just bit the bullet and planted all this, put all the irrigation, the posts, the wire, everything. I'm hearing these hawks out here. I think it's the breeding season for these hawks. There's been 3 or 4 of them just circling all morning, chasing each other around. But anyway, spring is right around the corner, so it is time. It's February, it's time to prune our plants. Like I said, we got these. I got to get these done today, and possibly the next week or two we're going to get to the smaller vineyard, which is our older plants. They're going to be a real task because they're big. All right, we're going to start on this first row of Supreme right here. We're going to start on this first row of Supreme. It's only 3 plants long, and then we'll work our way up and down each row until we knock this out. But this is going to be a great video for you guys that have been growing muscadines for a couple of 3 years or longer. I'll show you, I did a video last year how to prune these guys and get them ready for your grapes. Well, this year we'll do it a little different. It's going to be a little different video. I've been talking to Isons, and I got a lot of tips from Greg. Thank goodness for Greg Ison. He gave me some tips on how to start pruning a little deeper out every year. And then we'll readjust later on, a few years down the road, once this thing really starts to expand out. But I'm going to explain all that to you here in just a second. All right, there's our main trunk coming up, and it comes down the vine. And you could see last year's cut. It'll be on older wood. It comes up, and we cut it here. Well, we had growth that came out off that wood. And that's where your muscadines, as you can see, that's where your grapes come from. Your grapes will come off your new wood every year. Every year your grapes will come off your new wood. So what we're going to do this year, we're going to keep this here, but we're going to count a couple of buds back, and then we'll cut it here. That way it'll produce grape off this newer wood. See, like for instance, here it came up, we'd cut it, and you could see where the grapes came in off that new wood. So we're going to take 1, 2, right about here, 2 or 3 nodes, cut here. So your vine is actually every year it's going to get a little bigger, and then once it gets 6 to 8 inches away from your main trunk, we'll go back and start cutting some of these bigger ones off and look for some smaller shoots to keep and start over, if you can understand that. It's a little confusing, but basically what we're doing is the old wood from last year that we left on the trunk. We're going to take the new wood from that and save a couple of nodes off of that before we prune. Let me show you. Just like right here, this is the one that came up last year and we cut. What we're going to do is say 1, 2, 3. I'm going to just cut right there. Cut that off. This right here, you can see it comes right through here. It comes. I'm going to cut that off. I'm going to come up here and cut some of that off. Here's some old wood. We're going to leave some new wood on there. So you can tell the difference. This right here is old wood. It's a little darker. This right here was the newer wood that came off and produced grapes. So we'll come and cut that so it'll produce some grapes this year. I hope I'm explaining that okay. But as you'll see, I'll show you when we finish this row, I'll show you how our vine will start expanding because we're cutting it back. We're pruning it, but we're leaving it a little longer every year. so we'll get some new growth to produce lots of grapes. Okay, the way we did this, like I said earlier, we had the old wood and we have some new wood coming off, and we leave a couple of nodes on the new wood, which will grow our grapes. Well, eventually, letting your plants get bigger and bigger, you'll start getting some crowding. And they say you want about that much spacing in between each one. So you'll eventually start coming and cutting some of these bigger ones off. Say, for instance, when this one starts getting a little bit bigger, we'll come in later in a few years, cut that one back. But these newer ones right here will be the ones that take over for these, and eventually you'll have new ones popping out. You'll save them. See, like right here, it gets just a little crowded right here. Right here it gets a little crowded. I have to come in here and adjust that. But when we have some newer vines coming out, so like for instance there and here and here, these will be nice young plants that'll put on grapes this year, but then next year we'll prune them like these, and as these get bigger, we'll end up coming back and letting these go so these can grow. You got it? It's a little confusing to maybe me, but maybe the rest of you guys is no problem. So basically what we're looking for, we're just trying to go back, prune up our plants, leave some new growth off of the old growth from last year. And that'll produce a lot of grapes. We want to make sure we keep these younger ones coming, because they'll produce this year, but they'll also be nice for the next few years to come and turn into bigger vines. We also want to remember to keep our trunk clean. We don't want any growth coming off our trunk ever. Anytime you go to your vineyard, take your shears with you, and anytime in the spring and summer you see any new growth coming, just get rid of it. We don't want anything growing up here. We want it all growing out the wire. All right, well, this is going to be a relatively short video, because I have a lot of vines to do, and it takes takes me anyway, about 10 minutes per vine. So I'm gonna blast through these things real quick, and I'll come back and show you the final result. All right, I just thought I would stop for a second and show you guys how our road's turning out. It's looking really good, but I had a prime example of what I'm trying to convey here. You can see as time goes on, that these vines will get bigger and bigger and thicker, especially towards the center of the vine, because most of your nutrients is coming up and it's feeding all this, and it gets a little smaller as it goes out. But what you want to do is you can see our old cut from last year. We'd cut here and here, and this was a new shoot that came off of that. So we just want to leave 1, 2, 3, 4. I actually left probably too many. Probably should just leave about 2 nodes, because they'll branch out and produce your new grapes up in here. And then you'll see, as you're pruning, you'll see these newer little shoots come down or out. See here? And you'll cut them back forward just like you did a couple of years ago. And eventually these will start branching out and getting bigger, just like all these over the next few years. And so as those smaller ones get bigger and these get bigger and they start crowding each other out, we'll have to go through later and start pruning out the bigger ones and letting these little small ones come back in. That way we'll always have good grape producing vines. I hope I'm conveying that well enough. But if your older plants, you're ready to prune your older plants, try to make sure that you're pruning your newer wood, because your grapes are going to grow on your new wood. This is your old wood from last year. You can see one of the little cuts we made here, and then this shot off and made a huge long vine, but we'll just leave, well, 1, 2, 3. See, I'm cutting them actually a little long, but you should probably only leave about 2 nodes on each one. 1, 2, 3. So like I say, I'm leaving them just a little long. I may have to come back in here and do some extra trimming up. But I hope, I hope I'm getting through to what I'm trying to say. Pretty simple, pretty simple. And don't panic. Don't get like me. I worry way too much about things. You can't mess up. They're going to produce grapes. Just don't cut them back too deep. They're going to get you some grapes. Muscadines, they rule. Well, as you can see, the sun's going down. and I didn't get finished. I still got one left, one row left, and just a couple of plants left on this row. I think I can predict the future. There will be a gas-powered hedge trimmer coming in the near future, because when all these take off, it's going to take forever. I'll have to hire a crew to come out here. But it's a lot of pruning. It is a lot of pruning. But I love it. I just absolutely love it. I hope this helps some of you guys. I really have a hard time explaining it. I thought back and remembered last year when I did a video on this, it was the exact same way. I had a hard time really explaining this. It's more of a, I feel like I should, I left one right there, but I feel like I should, I wish they were here, you guys were here to show you hands-on. But it's really, really simple. I can show you one more time, but I feel like this video is going to be so repetitive. I know it's going to be a real short video, which is good. Ooh, somebody's shooting today. But let me show you just one last thing, just to sort of try to emphasize what I'm doing. All right, these are the ones, these big ones right here are the ones, they will get bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually they'll crowd each other out. They will start crowding each other out. And so we'll have to remove one, because you've got to have room for your grapes to grow. Well, you'll leave these smaller ones on here. That way, as these get bigger, and these get bigger, and these get bigger, we'll start, like, say for instance, if these two get so big I can't get my hand in there, I'll remove one. But then you have these coming up, and they'll get bigger, and you just have a continuous a continuous cycle of grapes every year. And another thing is you don't want to try to think this. You don't want this mindset where you go, why don't you leave a bunch of nodes and a bunch of vines? Because you can overwork your plants. If you grow too many grapes one year, you may not produce the following year. So there's sort of that balance. You're trying to find that balance of grape. And sometimes your grapes will actually be so heavy on here, before they're ripe, you have to go through and start pruning some off, get some of your grapes off, just so you don't overstress your plants for the following year. So there's sort of that little balance, you know. And I'm still learning. I don't want you guys to think, hey, Shane knows exactly all. He knows all. He knows it all. He knows what he's talking about. Because I go to Greg Ison's. He holds my hand through all this. Him and Darlene and all the Ison's folks, they're just the best. So again, get you some muscadine grapes. They're super easy to grow. Get you some plum trees, some apple trees, some blueberries, blackberries. They are the people to call, Ison's Nursery. Go check them out. Go online, get a catalog. Have them ship you out a catalog. There's still plenty of time left to get your fruit in the ground. They're all dormant, as you can see. And this spring, these jokers will take off, and I'll keep you guys posted how well our muscadines are doing, because we love them. We love the jelly. Kim's in there making jelly now. We make jelly. I got wine making now. I mean, once you get your grapes and you freeze them all up, of course, you eat them all through September. I mean, they're just, you guys up north don't know what you're missing. But anyway, thanks again, guys. Love you to death. It's going to be a quick, short little video. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me through this video. Thank you guys so much. We actually just opened up a merch store too on Bonfire. I'll leave a link in the description below. So do me a favor, go check out our new shirts and stuff. We just got 2. We're still playing with it. We're still learning about this Bonfire. It's a cool site. But go check out the link below in the description. It'll send you over to our little Bonfire account, and you can check out some shirts. We got some pretty cool shirts I think we came up with. Guys, love you to death. Really appreciate it again. Like, subscribe, leave a comment if you have any comments about my muscadines too. Or if you have any questions about growing them, I will always answer your comments when it comes to the muscadines or anything else. But I love talking about grapes. I love talking about our grapes, guys. Love you guys to death. I'm wore out. We'll see you on the next video.